Hi, I'm George Norrie, and welcome to our Coast to Coast AM YouTube channel. Have fun, tell your friends, and share us with everyone. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Coast to Coast AM's mobile app. And always remember to log on to our website at coasttocoastam.com for daily articles, the best paranormal information, and all you need to know about your favorite guests. And now you can become a Coast Insider directly through the Coast mobile app. We welcome our international listeners and even offer a free 2-week trial. So don't delay. Become an insider today.
With stations all over the U.S., North America, Puerto Rico, Guam, and by satellite, we are Coast to Coast AM. I am your host for tonight, Connie Willis here, and I'd love for you to join my shows. They are called Blue Rock Talk, Connie After Dark, Connie Willis the podcast. Just go to ConnieWillis.com. I make it really easy for you that way. And one of the things that we like to do is one of the shows is Blue Rock Talk. We go on Project Creepy Hotspots, live investigations, whether it's hauntings, strange lights, Dogman, Bigfoot. We stay out in the woods like 3 to 5 days, something like that. And we get activity 100% across the board. And it's all about a relationship when it comes to the Sasquatch world. It's a lot of fun. So I hope that you'll join our relationships, become a Blue Rocker. Go to ConnieWillis.com. Tonight's guest, Mike Patterson, he's a Blue Rocker. He is of Sasquatch, Ontario, and you've heard him on Coast to Coast before. He has let you hear the audio clips of his friend Neff. I call it like the real talker in the Bigfoot world. Said some really wonderful things. You're going to hear one of my favorites. I think we got that hooked up in here, but we've got some audio clips for you here tonight. It's always so fun to hear them, especially when they're not like billions of miles away. And it's like, you hear that howl? Yeah, I think that's a Bigfoot. It's not like that at all. It will amaze you. If you're on the fence, this will most likely make you jump off and go, woo, this is incredible. He's, I also consider him a friend. I've known him for a while now. I love his stuff. I think he's totally genuine. I think he really gets the goods. And because he gets to have such a relationship, it's so tight. Again, in the Bigfoot world, in my theories and what I've learned, it's a relationship. And the more you're out around them, the tighter you get, the more you learn. It's just like having a human relationship. The more you're together, the tighter you get. Mike Patterson, welcome back once again to Coast. How are you tonight?
Hey, Connie, how are you? I'm good, thanks. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. You wanna tell a little bit about yourself for the people that maybe you're new to? How do you describe yourself?
I'm a down to earth guy. I don't like BS. I'm a straight shooter. I got involved in this subject, I guess, about 15 years ago. Spending time in the woods, and just one day I had an epiphany, and I've been at it ever since. And I had experiences pretty much immediately, and I spent about I think it's about 4 years before a situation fell into my lap that has just blown my mind. And so I spent the last decade developing a relationship with a family of Sasquatch and interacting with them and documenting the activity. And there's been probably well over 1,000 encounter incidents at this point.
What was the epiphany that you're talking about?
I was in the woods with some camera gear. Just, I love nature. I think that's a very strong point with them too. That you have to be very nature oriented to get their attention. And I was chasing wildlife with a camera, and then one day I just had this thought of searching for them. I don't know where that came from, but at this point, considering what I've experienced, I think that they had something to do with that.
Right.
Yeah.
And what was the situation that dropped in your lap?
As you know, it was back in late 2012. I was invited to investigate purported Sasquatch presence on a private property up in the Kawartha Lakes region here in Ontario. And it's Ontario, Canada. I know there's an Ontario or something in Oregon. This is in Canada. So I got invited in to investigate. I interviewed the owner and his girlfriend at the time at their home, and then I got invited to their cottage property, and I learned from my previous experience already. I learned that from the very first night that there definitely, indeed, was Sasquatch presence on the property, and it's just something that has unfolded over the years and into a situation that I would never have dreamed of in a million years.
SasquatchOntario.com is his website. You can learn more about him there, as well as going to his YouTube channel. What is it, Manasukon? Is that what? How do you get to your YouTube channel?
Just Sasquatch Ontario. That was some native name that I found years back for them. I can't remember where that came from, but it's Sasquatch Ontario. There's an organization. If you spin those words around, I have nothing to do with them. So it's I basically maintain that myself, and I work with the property owner. So we've become good friends over the years, and we've experienced things that are literally out of this world. It's something that has developed over time to a level of communication, even written communication, vocalizations. This really steps outside the boundary of our current paradigm, and this is why so many people have a difficult time accepting this, because it is not the norm. It is so far outside of it, but it really does expand your mind when you start interacting with them and seeing things that most humans would say is impossible.
No, that's exactly right. It expands your mind, and when you first see one or have the knowledge that one's around you or more, it just changes your life. And then you create the relationship, and it continues to expand. It never gets old. It never gets boring. It never gets stagnant, unless maybe for some reason they're not around, or maybe you're not around, but you can almost feel them calling you. And I remember watching you. I just stumbled across you at one point, and you were, I just remember it was a tent, and it was raining outside, and you could just hear the nature, and you were talking about what you were hearing, and we could hear it too. And I just loved your style, just very natural. Just, hey, we're just out in the woods. That's what we like to do on my show. Just go out there and be a part of it. They'll come to you. They will come to you. So your relationship is really just, I don't know where you want to start with it, because I know that there's so much information, and you've got even more so. And you introduced Neff to the world. Now you can go to coasttocoastam.com, our website, and he has actually put up not just the fact that Neff is growing up and proof with check out the pictures on our website where the footprint is bigger. You feel that's Neff. The handprint looks like a big freaking mitt. I'm telling you, he could be Johnny Bench, catching for the Cincinnati Reds a long time ago. He had that big old mitt hand. And you also have the face of Neff. You actually have that on our website. And, of course, you have that with your social media, too.
Yeah, that face shot and the print, which is an updated print, were given on the same visit. This year, it was the beginning of April, there was just the snow was almost gone. There was a little bit of snow left on the ground, and it was the last opportunity I hadn't seen his footprint in 2 years. And when this first started, his print was, I got his age when he was 25 years old. They gave me his age. So I backtracked. That put him at 17 years old when this started. And his foot was 12 by 5 inches. I've taken gotten 4 different measurements over the years, at 14 inches, at 16 inches, and now it's 18 by 6 inches. This foot's like just huge. And I've had it confirmed in writing by them. I use a chalkboard and a sketch pad for written communication. You know, they are an interdimensional ancient species, a human type, very intelligent, and a lot of people, I understand, have a difficult time accepting that. But I can assure you, I would wager my life on this one that they are an interdimensional race, and they are in the midst of exposing their people. So there's a lot going on with this subject, and a lot of people, a growing number that are gaining contact. They are reaching out, selecting humans for contact, and I just happen to be one. And so it started with Neff and his family. I still don't know the exact number of family members. They are still just as elusive as they were from day one, pretty much, although, you know, the activity and the interactions are a lot more. There has been interactions on 100% of the visits over 10 years now. I would have never dreamed of that, right? There was a lot of fear in the beginning. That's gone. There was a lot of fear with both the property owner and myself when I first got in there, and I knew that they were there. What do? You know, you either suck it up and dive in head first. I had the do or die kind of mentality. You know, this is it. This is what I'm looking for. I got it. So what do? You either run away or you dive right in. So that's what I did. I dove right in.
And you're exactly right. It's usually one or the other. But I still have the cautiousness, and you'll still do it. But it's still, you know, when you're in the dark and you hear this, and I can't even breathe in as much as they can. When you can hear them breathing in, and you hear the size of the lung capacity, and you know what I'm talking about if you've heard it. You're just amazed that, oh my gosh, this thing is huge, and it's like 2 feet away from me, but it's dark, so you don't see anything. Now, tell me though about the selfie that you can't see on the website, but tell me about the fact that, you know, you released that, because I know along the way you've got some pictures, but you're like, nope, not allowed to show those yet. You know, who gave you the permission? What happened here?
You know, it's a whole respect thing in doing this properly, because I've learned they know what I'm doing at any given time if they choose, right? They can locate you anywhere, it seems. I think it's all through consciousness. And so that visit back in April, it was within 15 minutes that 18-inch single print appeared. So he knew I wanted it, and he gave it. So I was ecstatic when that showed up. And then it was later on that night. So what I do, I have a point-and-shoot camera that I place on the table. And it's almost like it's, I don't know, thought photography or something, which has been proven by science. You know, if you look at the skull experiment, the afterlife experiments, that sort of thing, you know, documented by science. So they have put literally dozens of images on that camera over the years. And I've learned they manipulate all of our electronics, including video camera, phones. It doesn't matter. I think it's very simple for them. They love to mess with us, you know. And so that night, there had been a couple of images put on the camera already, and I was showing Dwayne, the property owner, I was showing him one of the images. It was just a black screen, you know, and then I put the camera down. I picked it back up a short time later, and that black screen now had light in the corners. And my camera had never done that. I don't think it was a malfunction of the camera. It was the first time it ever did that. It's never done it before, right? So after that, the camera's sitting on the table, and I take another look, and suddenly there's this close-up partial face shot showing his eyes, most of his nose. You see the color of his skin, and it's not really that. It's fairly clear shot. And I do know it's Neff's face because I do sit on a couple of photos that are astounding that were taken by Dwayne. I think they were. I think it was back in the beginning of 2020. I think that's when those pictures happened. And I've asked them, "Do you want these pictures put out for the world to see?" And they wrote, "Not yet." So I have just sat there. I didn't. That was it. I just left it alone at that point, right? And so that visit in April, that image was given, and then Dwayne mentioned about, hey, there you go, you got something you can put out there. And I said, yeah, but I'm going to wait till the next visit and ask permission, just out of respect, which I did. And then I was thrilled when they said yes, go ahead. They gave permission to put that out, and so I did. And I'm hoping that at some point sooner than later that I'll be able to put out the whole face, and I know it'll have a major impact. It's there's nothing out there remotely close to to what I sit on, right? So it's just something that over the past 10 years, I feel I've done a great job at developing this and gaining their trust and doing it properly in a respectful way that they have allowed this to be put out there.
We got a minute probably or so before the break. What are they? What have you figured out they are? What have they told you?
Well, they are human and they are not human. Yes and no. They are they're people. They have names just as we do. So they are absolute masters of earth energies. They have mastered energy. They are there's some yogis that have demonstrated similar abilities. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that humans can also do this sort of thing. So this is something that, they are not swayed by propaganda and lies and deceit that, that we have been led down the path of. They are pure of heart. They hold honesty in high regard. So they're very advanced. The epitome of don't judge a book by its cover.
And they have an incredible sense of humor. I love that probably the most out of all of it. I mean, everything you've said, I agree with you 100%. But man, the sense of humor and the care, and if you're around them, you feel that, that, if they want you to. Yeah, it's like that. All right, Mike Patterson is with us, Sasquatch, Ontario. And we're going to hear some audio clips of Neff and more. Stay with us. I'm Connie Willis, and this is Coast to Coast AM. It's Coast to Coast AM. Connie Willis here on Blue Rock Talk, Project Creepy Hotspots. We go out live investigations of Bigfoot hauntings and strange lights. And when we go out to the Bigfoot world and report back live, you're there with us. You're just at home, all safe and sound. And because you're a Blue Rocker and you join my show, you get to be a big part of that. And one of our Blue Rockers is Mike Patterson, who is here with us tonight of Sasquatch, Ontario. Go to ConnieWillis.com to learn more about that. Mike is up there in Ontario and just has had, we keep in touch. He's got remarkable encounters and things that happen. There was a time, the day that my dad passed away, later that day, I was with my mom. We were in their bedroom, and a peppermint, one of those starlight peppermints, those individual wrapped peppermints, was thrown. And I said, "Mom, why'd you throw that at me?" She's like, "I didn't." And I was like, "Yeah, you did." And we both stopped and we realized that was one of my dad's treats. And he didn't even have any in the house. He hadn't been home in months. He was in the hospital for a long time. And it was thrown out of thin air. And this is something that Mike has dealt with, things coming out of thin air. Tell us a little bit about that, Mike, before we go to some audio clips.
Okay, apports. It's something that's been very prevalent throughout this entire situation, to the point of I don't even know how many marbles have been the main thing, but it's involved numerous other objects as well, right? The marbles have been the main source of apports that have happened, and we probably accumulated well over a couple thousand of them over time.
My.
Like a more recent incident was I've used my car for interactions where they've left lots of prints and markings, and so I'll be checking my car, and there was a more recent incident where I'm looking at my car, and this, there's maybe about 2-3 feet between myself and my vehicle, and 10 clear blue marbles all at once, just boom, out of thin air, hit my chest area, whatever, in between myself and the car, right? That's the most I've ever seen come out of thin air at one time. But it's happened indoors too. It's happened a lot indoors, and at one time it was witnessed by Chris Munch, he's a Hollywood filmmaker, made the movie Letters from the Big Man, so he was witness to that as well. And I actually captured one. I was interviewing him outside on location, and I captured one that dropped between us. So I captured it on video, which was, that's pretty rare. But there was an incident where I was sitting at the kitchen table having a discussion with Dwayne, and they knew where my gaze was at that given moment. I turned my head for a second. I'm looking towards the other end of the table, and this happened about arm's length, right in front of my eyes. And they let me see that moment where it comes into this space from another realm, but they did it slowly. So I saw a piece of the marble, and it was slowly pushed through. It looked like it was coming through a wormhole, and it was pushed through empty space, and it popped into this space and dropped to the floor. I had an audio recorder running outside, and the window was open, so it captured my reaction. You hear the marble hit the floor and that, but they've let me see that a couple times, that moment. It's usually, it's that split moment, so you don't get to see it, right? But I've had them dropped right into my hand, or I've had a glass in my hand and I hear tink and I look, I go, oh, I got another one.
What did it look like when it slowly did it? What did you see behind it? Was it black or like another world, or did you get to see anything from that slit?
Just nothing, just empty space. Just, it just comes out of empty space.
Was it a colored? Oh, you didn't see an actual split. You just saw it kind of coming in. You didn't see a split and nothing behind it, kind of thing.
No, there's nothing behind it. It's just the room. The room, and just this thing appearing out of thin air. And
amazing.
They did it slowly, so it was. I remember I freaked out when that happened because. I bet.
What was the reaction that was caught? What was the reaction that was caught on the audio?
Oh, I was just yelling and freaking out.
Yeah. I want to see the video of where you saw it in between you and someone else. Is that on your YouTube channel?
In between me and someone else?
Yeah, you said you had a video that you caught that was rare to ever get.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. That was with Chris. Yeah, I was interviewing him. He was invited in. I think this was way back in 2013, was it? And he was invited, and he spent 3 nights on location. He got to witness quite a bit of activity. he witnessed a marble appear out of thin air indoors right in front of him. And then the one that happened outside, which I captured on video. I'm not sure which video that's on, but it's an older one on my YouTube channel.
Okay, excellent.
And, yeah, it's out there. So, yeah, the apports have been, they do it to show their presence. You know, it's like, hey, we're here. Because you wouldn't know they're there, you know, unless they wanted you to. There's no visual. They have, like I said, they've mastered energy where walls do not exist. I remember I had one incident happen where I run audio microphones through my sunroof in my vehicle. And, you know, the unit will be sitting on the seat in my car, and I'll do a battery change, you know, to make sure that audio recorder is running throughout the night. I have recorded every visit basically all night from day one. So I have a ton of audio, and I've captured a lot of subtle voices and stuff like that. But I was in my car doing a battery change, and I hear a marble smack off the window. It was inside, and it landed in the passenger side on the floor. I found it, and so I picked that up. And then the center console, little change holder there, suddenly another marble lands right there. You know, it's to the right of my right leg from the driver's seat. And they just show that, you know, like that cars basically, they can walk right through it. They can move right through it. And when you take matter and you break it down to a quantum level, it's basically empty space. So they understand that and how to move through that. Their ability to travel as well is astounding, and how fast they can move if they truly want to. There's a small bay there that the cottage sits on, and I remember we were hearing these vocals, and suddenly they bounced around they moved, and they moved around that bay so fast it was impossible, basically, right? So yeah, what they're capable of is it's phenomenal. How they can move, their understanding of energy, how they can manipulate our electronics, how with the apports, and also their understanding of English and other languages. I've asked them. They have stated that they understand all language, and I believe it's through energy, how that they feel the meaning of words, because I've asked them that, and they've affirmed that. They gave me an experience way back in 2013 that showed me that. I think it was 2013, but they gave me an experience of give me a vision. I had just woken up. I was laying there, and I had this vision of dozens of Sasquatch walking together in the same direction across an open meadow, and suddenly I hear the words, "Soon your people will know," and there was a clarity with that. You know, it was undeniable, but the words were not spoken. There was no verbal spoken word. It was felt, and there was a clarity there, and they gave me that experience, and I think that's how they understand language. It's they don't think like we do. It's just different how they operate, right? I don't understand it. Just kind of slowly chipping away at it. They give little bits and pieces, a little baby step process in gaining, just gaining their trust and learning from them. It's they give little bits and pieces, right? It takes a long time, you know. You just
it does.
hang in there, and persist.
Yeah, and that's what I love about the fact that you have such a great relationship. You know, I can't wait to get back up into the mountains and continue on with the ones I have relationships with, and the new ones that pop up, and the different things that you see constantly. But you have something amazing that just it's inside, outside, wherever you go, and some great audio recordings as well. Let's go ahead and start on those. Do you want to do it in any order, just the way we do have it ordered?
Yeah, sure. I just want to mention too, like last night, I put audio out behind. I live in the woods here. I put audio out behind my place, right? I hadn't done it for a while, so I put audio out last night, and I go grab it this morning, and I'm having my coffees, I'm listening. I got to go through it all day. I still not, I've only listened back to I think maybe 2 or 3 hours, but I put it out about 11:30. So about I think it was about 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. Something came walking in on 2 feet slowly, and it's pitch black back there, right? And there's no vocals, there's no voice, but they walk right up to my microphone and just basically stand there. And then there's stick breaking going on, and this is typical of their behavior. A lot of stick breaking and snapping going on. Something that I've noticed over the years with the audio. There's a consistent behavior pattern with stick breaks and rock clacks, that sort of thing. I've set up a tent out back, and I've had a little one run up to my tent. It sounds like he or she's rubbing 2 rocks together vigorously, and then runs away. And then later on, an adult walks in. My audio was strapped to a tree, and it basically taps the microphone, and then there's some animalistic type sniffing. Just walks in slowly on heavy bipedal footsteps, right? So, and this is not Neff's family, because I've asked them, if this is them. That they have been here, but from what I gather, but there are others. I think once you connect to them, doesn't matter where you go, they know who you are once you connect to them. So, you're open to others interacting with other families as well, and so I'm trying to develop that at home as well with another family. It's very slow going though. They're taking their sweet time with me. So, but anyways, some of the audio that I've captured over the years with Neff's family, it's included. Neff has been Neff Atia. He's been the main vocalist, but I've captured audio from multiple family members, both young and adults, male and female. There's been a lot of accusations tossed around over the years, property owners, Neff's voice, but I have enough pieces of audio to easily dispel that, although some people, doesn't matter what you put in front of them, their minds are already made up, right?
I don't even care. I don't even care about those people. I've been out there myself. I hear them. I hear what noises they make and the telepathy / mind speak that happens. So, and the other people, whatever, I love talking with people that have heard all the same things, and yours, go even beyond. So let's go ahead and hear the first one. And do you want to say anything about that? Oh, here, let's just hear it first.
Right.
Oh, he's right there.
Okay, what can you say about that one?
So basically, that was Neff. He was right there with us, and I actually edited that because Dwayne drops an F-bomb there. So
Oh, okay.
when he
It
said,
happens.
Yeah, well, it happens a lot.
Oh, yeah, Tourette's syndrome with me when that happens. I'm like, ah.
Yeah, so he's right there with us, and he has stood beside us many times. Suddenly I'll get a pat in the head or a poke or something. I always revert to this one incident where we're standing there, and I knew Neff was right there with us because I got physical contact, and I say it to Dwayne. I said, Neff's here, and he says, "You sure?" I said, "Of course I'm sure." "You sure?" I said, "How many times we've done this?" And suddenly he was wearing a baseball cap sort of thing, and suddenly his hat went flying up in the air. "You believe me now?" So,
Yeah, right, exactly. Well, let's hear that first one again. Let's hear that one again.
Right. Oh, hey, he's right there.
I'm hearing like a stick break, and then I hear Mike, and uh, I, I love it. He calls you Mike. It's what an honor to hear that when you're out in the woods or wherever
yeah,
you are.
he's done that a lot. They they definitely know my name. So I actually I used to before he started vocalizing. I used to pat my chest and say my name, and because I knew they were listening, I knew they were watching. So I'd pat my chest, say my name, and I'd break my name down, even even though it's one syllable. I would just show them how to form it, to properly pronounce it. And then one day he just yelled it out, and I remember I was in my tent when that happened, and I told Dwayne in the morning when he got up, and I said, I think he called my name, and he's like, what? I said, yeah, man, I think he called my name,
And he did. You are listening to Coast AM. Connie Willis here. Find me at ConnieWillis.com, talking with Mike Patterson and talking about his buddy Neff, a forest friend. And we are also doing some audio clips and taking your phone calls here too, so you can talk to Mike. We have plenty of clips to get through. I'm looking forward to that. And by the way, Mike, thanks so much for pulling this together again. We've had you on here a couple times, but it just never gets old. And I know we got some new clips here. I don't know if you put my favorite one in here or not. I always like to be surprised when I hear them, but I know you know which one that is. Is it in here? Did you bring it in?
Yeah, it's in
Okay.
there. It's in there. I just want to say too, I appreciate you having me on there as a blue rocker, and just having that access to your creepy hot spots, that exclusive content. So it's very much appreciated. I thoroughly enjoy that. Thanks.
Well, thank you. And I love that you are a blue rocker and a cadet too on my Connie After Dark. And it's fun because when you come in there, it's just fun. You're just, the thing about it is not this interview setup kind of thing all the time. It's just, hey, we're relaxed and we're all talking, and it's fun. So thanks for being part of that community. You're a true blue rocker, and we appreciate it, Mike. Really do. Thanks. ConnieWillis.com is where you can also do that. All right. So let's do you need to set up anything with the second audio clip that we have?
No, you can just play them, and and I can
go from there.
The details after. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Right.
I love it. It reminds me that he's just like sitting. It's almost like he's a kid. He's sitting on a bed and he's just kind of, oh, whatever. And then Mike, like he's yelling at his brother in the other room. But that's what I picture. So what was happening there?
Again, that was older vocalization. It just, this is back when things, there was, when you start hearing Sasquatch vocalizing and then vocalizing English and calling your name, it truly, it's mind blowing. And, it's something that, again, there's some cognitive dissonance with some folks. I understand that how difficult it is to accept, but They are unlike anything else on this earth. As I
Yes.
stated before, they are interdimensional. A lot of people think, this long, 10 years, where's all the video? They are invisible beings. They materialize and disappear. They are in that invisible state almost all the time. And you're lucky to gain a visual. We've had visuals and partial glimpses, but it's we had one. We were sitting at the table once. This was during the daytime, and the woods are right across the road there. And Dwayne makes a comment about a hairy tree standing in the woods, and something was done to our minds. And I had my camera, video camera. I had all my equipment. I used none of it, and we both forgot about the incident in real time until the next visit, and then it all came back to us. So there's just it's all high strangeness that surrounds this when you get close to them. You can't attach any human construct to this. It doesn't work. Logic does not work with this subject.
That's right. That's exactly right. And I always like to tell people, hey, if you're, especially people when they just gossip about other people, or they're, constantly talking about something negative or this or that, just the world problems. It's like, you know what? Go out in those woods, experience something that you've never experienced before. And just the world would change if everybody knew this or was a part of it, because all that other stuff that goes on in the world, it's just so tiny when you realize, wow, these things are so intelligent, and here they are, and they're messing with us. Let's go ahead and hit that third clip there. About how old is Neff at this point, do you think, when he's talking to you?
I think he's 28 years old now, and like I said, 18-inch foot. I think he's probably between 9 and 10 feet tall at this point. The big guy in the family has a 21-inch foot. He was photographed through the cottage window. It's not the clearest. The camera locked onto the screen, but you could still see him. You can still make him out, and he stands roughly, because I went and stood in the same spot a week later, recreated the shot, and put him at close to 12 feet. He's about 11 feet and change, but he was hunched, that as was described to me when the shot happened, and so that puts him roughly in the 12-foot range. So, they're big people. Neff has larger family members as well, because I remember some of these prints that were showing up 17, 18 inches. There's been so many prints that have been given. Sometimes 4 family members have come in and left a single print all at once. And they can do this. They choose to leave their footprints, and this is in snow, right? So I've documented literally hundreds of prints over the last decade from their family. 100% of those prints go nowhere. They start, they stop. Sometimes they have dirt in the prints, and then it goes clean. Sometimes it's a trackway. Sometimes it's a single print. And sometimes those prints happen upon arrival, just get there and boom, there's a footprint left. And sometimes it takes hours before any activity shows up. So, it's a whole gamut of just the way things happen and unfold.
And I'll never forget something that you said about that. I know I've mentioned this to you several times, but I still think it's cool. I just do that. When these prints just show up out of nowhere, because like you said, they do, they will just show up. It's almost, I love being in the snow and getting to see prints because it's so much easier, but you'll just out of nowhere, there's like footprints and then they're gone. And it's like, well, how did they start and how did they end? There's no way they could happen, but at least with us, but because we think human-like, they're not that way. But I always have loved when you had said, well, I'm not sure where this one came from, but it was dirty wherever it was because it had dirty feet. And then it started getting cleaned up along the way. I found that pretty interesting. I don't know why. I've just always thought about that. Oh yeah, they were somewhere where their feet were dirty and they left the dirtiness on the snow. I don't know why that affects me so much, but that's right. They just walked from something because they're not always dirty.
I documented a trackway once that Neff left, and I found the first two prints where the trackway started, and there was quite a bit of dirt in them. And then he'd taken a couple steps. Well, he left a trackway, but within a couple steps, there was no more dirt in those prints, right? And more recently, they're now leaving prints in real time. So there was a visit this winter that we went out. We'll go outside and we'll scan the snow for fresh prints, see if they left us anything. And so this particular visit, we're out there and we take a look and there's nothing there. So we're about to go back into the cottage and I swing around and I take one more quick look and suddenly, boom, there's a footprint sitting there that wasn't there literally just a few seconds ago. And then we're checking that out. I'm filming that and documenting that. And then suddenly there's a whole slew of prints that just appeared from, I think it was 3 different family members. It was almost like it was girls' night out or something. They were a lot smaller prints, right? And it was, it was. So they weren't there literally seconds before, and then I got marbles dropping beside me, and it's just it's typical of their behavior and the activity that's gone on. So this is what you get when you gain trust, but at the same time they are still just as elusive, as day one. So you can't have expectations with this. It does not work. So it's very, they are labeled a myth still by many.
Yes,
for
yes.
Good reason.
Oh yeah, Facebook. When I wrote something about them somewhere, Facebook told me too that they deleted it and said this is a mythological creature and you're acting like it's real. They said something like that to me. Can you believe it? It's like I couldn't believe they said that. Let's go to the phones. Wildcard line number 2, Frank out of Florida. Hey there, Frank. You're on the air.
Good morning. I guess it is. I would like to know if Mike Patterson tries to have an open mind.
I very much so have an open mind. You have to with this.
Yeah, we'll go to Joe. Okay. Frank sounded like, well, anyway, we'll go to Joe, wildcard line number 3. Hey there, Joe, out of the Bronx.
Hey, how are you, Connie?
I'm good. How's it going?
It's going okay. Mike, I wanted to know if Neff has given you any clues or any explanation as to how he can manipulate energy, because that seems to be a big thing with them. How can he walk through walls? I mean, you touched on it earlier, where they're able to break down molecules and atoms and basically with just space.
I don't know how they do it. My guess, my speculation is they have an ability to change their internal frequency, to raise their vibration, raise and lower to specific frequencies that allow them to basically disappear into thin air or like I said, move through walls or that's just my guess, though, right? I don't know. They haven't given me those answers. It's I don't have those secrets at this point. But I'm always working at trying to get that information from them, and they have given little tidbits, drawings that seem to be explaining things and.
Well, I don't hear him. Well, while we try to get him back, let's go ahead and listen to the 4th audio. Okay, yeah. So let's. So Mike, Thank you for being back here. Let's go to the fourth audio clip. Listen to that. So now when we get you back up here, Mike, we'll ask you about this. If you all notice when you hear the audio clips, sometimes people go, oh, there's a couple of them. I can hear two different voices or what sounds like that. A lot of times when you're hearing that, you're hearing what's coming out of one. So when we pull him back up on the air, obviously he got cut off. We'll ask him about that. But I know this is absolutely amazing, isn't it? When you hear this, these are Neff. He's been listening to Neff for a while. Some of them are different, so that's why I don't want to confirm that that's totally Neff until he gets back on the air here and tells us though. But let's listen again, and let's hear it again. So you're back with us, Mike?
Yeah, I'm back. I don't know what happened there. It could be my cell signal here because it is not the best because my location. So, but I just want to finish what I was saying. I believe it's an inherent ability that they have to manipulate their internal vibration. I have learned that even the little ones know how to disappear into thin air.
Oh yeah, it's natural for them. It's what they do, right? It's just natural for them.
Yes. Yeah.
So the voice that we just heard, a lot of times people will hear these sounds and they say, oh, there's two of them, where actually it's just part of their sound, where it sounds like two, but it's really one because of the way the sound comes out. What was that on this one, or did you think, or was there like a daddy and a baby or something there?
No, that was two individuals.
Oh, it was. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's not the entire piece because I believe the younger one was messing with the foam over top of my audio mics, and then I think Neff kind of. It's almost like he gave him. How do I? he gave him trouble for messing with my equipment. But it's not the whole piece, right? So yeah, there was two individuals there.
Oh, okay. Okay. But you know what I'm talking about, right? From some of the sounds they make, some people think it's two chattering. It's like, no, that's one. I've experienced that along the way, and I'm just amazed at the sounds that can come out of them. So let's go ahead and hit the fifth one that we've got. What was that one about?
That was Neff singing. So I don't know if anybody's ever captured anything like that. Sasquatch singing a song.
Let's hear that again. Let's hear him sing it again.
It's almost like some old pirate or something singing a pirate song.
I love it. I'm just picturing him like taking a bath, and he's got one of those back scratcher things, la la la, cleaning himself. That's great. Let's go to the next one. See if we can do that before the break.
Well, let me just explain first, Connie. This is the sixth one, right? So this is the one this is your favorite one.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, that one's a little bit long, so we'll wait. We'll hold off on that one. And when we come back, we'll do that. Time flies. We've just got one more segment left with you. You are listening to Coast AM. I'm Connie Willis. Please find me at conniewillis.com and join my shows. I'd love to have you. One of our people that is on tonight with us, Mike Patterson, and he is from Sasquatch, Ontario. He's up there in Canada. And that's where you can find him, SasquatchOntario.com. You can also go to his YouTube channel and you can see his videos. Do you have a membership subscription thing going on there on YouTube?
Yeah, I do. Usually any updated content is posted there, except when something, significant like a Sasquatch selfie comes out. They want everybody to see that. So, but yeah, there is a subscription on that channel.
Okay, excellent. SasquatchOntario.com, or also go to his YouTube and look for the same Mike Patterson with 1 T. So we got lots of people on the line. I also want to get through some more audio. I think it was number 6. Is that where we're at? Let's take
Yeah, that's the one that you love so much.
Oh, okay. Let's hear this one.
You.
You, my friend.
You.
I miss you, my friend.
Red.
Is that who?
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 I did. Oh. Oh. Oh.
Yeah, that who? That Patia, my friend. What is, Oompa-Oompa?
Two. Yeah. Two. Da. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. Ooh. Ah.
Love you, buddy. Thanks for coming into my life, my friend.
Let's go.
Really happy to have you in my life, my friend.
Let's go. We love you.
Oh. Oh, that's very nice.
We love you. What? Yeah, two.
Oh, man, I love you, buddy.
Yep, that's why I love that one. It's excellent. How does that make you feel when you hear it?
Way back, I used to get pretty emotional with it. I've grown accustomed to it, but I just want to say at the end of it, he actually says, achoo. I was having an allergy attack that night.
It's amazing, isn't it? In the personality that comes out of each one. It's just and unless you've been around them, unless you believe, unless you know, they're individualistic. They're their own people, you just cannot express that enough. You just can't.
There's a little bit more of a story behind that where
Sure.
they knew that would be my last visit to that cottage for a little while. And so they were giving me that gift, telling me that, and also that was the first time the big guy left his 20-inch footprint for me to see. So that night was like super special.
Yeah, spectacular night. All right, let's go to the next one. What's the story behind that one?
I just want to mention about the inhale exhale velocity going on there. If that's a human trying to do that, you're going to end up in a coughing fit. Their lung capacity, it's easy for them, right? So you can really hear that inhale exhale going on with that piece there.
Yeah, let's hear that again. since you've pointed that out. Yeah. Yep. Try to imitate that. Let's hear you.
Not me. I'll end up choking myself.
Me too. I didn't want it to be me that choked. I got to carry the show. Okay, let's go to the next one. Is it always raining there in Ontario or what?
No, it's just the time of year. There's a lot of cottages in the area, so we tend to go when most people are shut down for the year. They haven't opened up yet. We like the winter time, and then it goes into the spring, right? So.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay. That's so vocal. I mean, is it near the mic? Is it, I think he totally knows what he's doing, obviously, but,
Oh yeah.
does he get up close to it, or is he just like, are you, how far away are you? What's the scenario there?
Well, I'm running, I think that's the audio running through my sunroof, right? So sometimes he's stood at my vehicle and banging on my car roof while he's vocalizing. They know what I'm doing. They understand all the electronics. It's very simple for them. Like I mentioned that before, and they gravitate to my recorders. I run multiple recorders, and they have always gravitated, whether it's stick breaking or rock clacking or vocalizing.
Yeah, I remember Ron Moorhead with the Sierra Sound saying that they'd go up to the mic. They'd go up to the mic that he had running up there. Let's hear the next one. Tell us a little bit about that one.
Do a lot of cooing type sounds,
Yeah.
and it's just very guttural and just showing off their voice. They're having fun. If I had heard that before I was, before I understood their behavior in that, I'd be scared.
Oh, I was pretty spooked on that one, by the way. At one point, it got me right in the gut.
Yeah, I just absolutely love their vocals. It's one of my favorite parts of this, and their voice is just phenomenal.
Let's go to that next one.
Yeah, I think that's it's a common vocalization that people will hear, throughout anybody doing this that's in the woods that gets to hear them vocalize, they tend to make that wah sound.
Any idea what that might mean? Have you been picking up any words and you do know the language yet or anything like that?
Very little. The beginning of that piece that you love when he says Ninadadwa,
Yeah.
that meant invader go, and it had nothing to do with me. So they wrote down the meaning for me in English. And then there's Nyerahu, which they drew a flower before, so that might be their word for flower. Some people have, think it's like a greeting of some sort. I think it might mean flower in their language.
We're going to try to hit some of these phone calls. If you guys can make it really quick, we can maybe get a couple of you in there. First time caller Kelly out of Cincinnati, Ohio. Kelly, you are on the air. Welcome.
Hi, I was wondering, what do they eat? Do they hunt animals in the woods, or are they vegetarian, or does it vary from family to family?
I think they're omnivores like we are. We leave them food gifts all the time. Sometimes they'll try them. Sometimes they'll take them. And often they don't touch the stuff. It could be they know the poisons in our food, the GMO stuff. I think that they're well aware of. They know what goes on inside us. They know our diseases. They're very intuitive that way. So as far as their diet, I'm really not sure, but I do believe they're omnivores.
Yeah, I hear a lot of people talk about where they've seen or at least heard stories of, catching a turkey or catching a deer and carrying with one around them. Usually I just hear a story from another story. I've never actually seen that myself. Not to say that hasn't happened, but I've never met someone just like where it's not a one-off of another story. So have you literally seen them eating or anything?
No, I barely had a visual. It's 10 years, barely a visual. So yeah, seeing them eating, that's a whole different ball game there.
Yeah, exactly right. There's been people that, everybody sees something different, and it's great that we get along and we talk about it and learn what we can from each other. So what's next with you and Neff? What is the most, just coming to a close in the show, what's the coolest, most recent thing? Because you continue to progress with your relationship with them and others.
The written communication is a big thing with me because I get to ask them questions. They don't respond to everything, but they do respond sometimes. And also sometimes a certain question, like I asked, how long do your people live? They didn't respond to that. I changed my wording. I said, do your people live longer than 200 human years? Which could be 1,000 years for all I know, but do your people live longer than 200 human years? And they said yes. So, the written communication is fascinating to me. And I've even gotten into, some of the conspiracy questions too, right? So it gets very interesting. And as I stated before, I can see through experience that they hold honesty in high regard. So I have no reason to doubt what they're telling me.
I agree with you. Integrity comes from them. It just oozes out of them. Having fun oozes out of them. Personality seems to ooze out of them. And also, I think, as even Mel Scahan says to us, Scahan, is respect. Respect them. So thank you so much, Mike Patterson. I appreciate it. Thanks so much for joining us again.
Thanks for having me on, Connie. I really appreciate it. And I actually did an interview with Mel out of the Yakima radio station there with Bob Gimlin in the room too. So that was fun. So
two good people. Thanks so much. SasquatchOntario.com. That's where you can find him. thanks to Mike Patterson, and thanks Dane Wigington for being with us earlier. And thank you for being a part of the show. Hey, if you liked it, write in. Say, hey, George Norrie, love the show. There you go. It's always nice to be with you. Thank you so much. From the foothills of the Colorado Rockies, I want to thank the team, Julie Talbot, Bill May, Lisa Lyon, Tommy Danheiser, Dan Galani, Stephanie Smith, Mike Cosio, Lex Lonehood, Sean Ladesseur, Tim Banal, Gina Salvati, Donna Walker, Ryan Stacy, Chris Burles, Ian Punnett, Lisa Garr, Richard Sirik, George Knapp, and of course, the man, George Norrie. Hope I got pretty much everybody in there. And happy Nerner Day to my mom up in heaven, looking down, enjoying the show too. So until we meet again, I'm Connie Willis. Please check me out at ConnieWillis.com. Join my shows. We'll have a great time. And keep watching the night skies and continue with me to seek out the strange and uncover the unknown. For Coast to Coast AM, I'm Connie Willis. Good night.
The Coast mobile app is now available for download on iPhones and Android devices. You can become an insider directly through this app. This is a great option for our international listeners, and new users will also receive a free 2-week trial.